Delicious! Hey, what's up? Welcome. Grab a taste, grab a plate. It's the Delicious Culture. I'm Jon Francois.
And today I am AJ Vanderchat. I was going to say something really inappropriate. So that's
well
why I
now,
had to think about it.
well now I want to know what the hell like too inappropriate for the podcast. That's a reach.
Yeah, I was going to say I was one of the casings.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Okay.
oh, I'm
and
sorry.
we'll leave it at that. We'll just say sausage casing. We'll say sausage casing. How about that? Um, anyway, all right. So here's what we're doing. We are going to talk about something that not only has permeated the political culture, but I would say pop culture in general. It's a story that just won't go away. We got to talk about Charlie Kirk. And on a lighter note, we will get into pop culture samplers that we think you should try from each of the three of us. I would love to welcome a special guest on our podcast this week. Massiel Hernandez. She is an actress, entrepreneur, the host of the Black Hole Sun podcast. She is the creator of the blog My Epic Life. Listeners of this podcast feed for the past 5 years, if you remember way back to when this podcast used to be called The Anything Show, Massiel was a co-host. She's a very dear friend of mine from New York. And yeah, Massiel, I was literally thinking about like highlights of the episodes that we did together. And unfortunately, the only one I can think of is a very TMI episode where my wife Tony guested with us. She was my girlfriend at the time, and
Yes.
somehow we got into a conversation about my constipation issues. So I don't know why we were doing that, but that's what came to mind.
Wow. Okay. Well, I remember because you were asking me if I sat on the toilet and checked my phone because we were talking about how people were on the toilet checking their phone. And I was like, and then you started talking about your bowels, and then you started talking about and I was like, this is getting out of hand. Like, I was like, where
Yes.
did this
So
go?
Maciel had to take a 4 year break, and then she's come back, and now
Come back. Yes, yes.
the conversation has become a lot classier. So yes, yes. But yeah. Well, first of all, how are you doing, Maciel?
I'm doing great. I'm surviving like everybody else in America. Different locations, trying to keep up with my art, trying to like not completely like get consumed by social media and everything, and um, trying to be genuine and authentic, and I don't know, just living my life. Living
Yeah,
my
nothing
life
wrong with
'cause
that.
it's hard out there,
Nothing wrong.
guys. It's hard out there.
Oh yeah, it's hard out there. It's hard out there. I mean, if you, especially if you've been watching the coverage of all this Charlie Kirk stuff, it's not easy. So, yeah, let's just kind of quickly go through some basic facts, and then we'll all get our takes on all this. So yeah, Charlie Kirk, the well-known conservative activist, top podcaster as well. He was an ally of President Trump. He was killed last Wednesday. AJ, I think you said while we were recording, this was a developing story.
Yeah, while we were recording, he was shot, and then the death wasn't confirmed until Chunky Milk, the president, said it. I used to saying that on TikTok. I'm sorry. The president is the one who confirmed that he died.
Wait.
Yeah.
Did you call him? What did you call him? Chunky Mo?
I call him Chunky Milk because you can't say his name on TikTok without it messing up your algorithm. So I use disguise words
Oh.
for him.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
see.
look at him and I think
I
that's
had no
milk that's been
idea.
out for a few days. Yeah,
But
yeah.
your face is the perfect face when you hear Chunky Milk because it sounds disgusting. So
Yeah.
it's the perfect thing for him.
Absolutely,
That's the same face I
absolutely.
have for him. I'm like, oh.
So anyway,
I call
yeah,
him
Charlie
Agent
Kirk.
Orange, by the way.
Wait, what was that?
I call Trump Agent Orange.
Agent, yeah,
That works perfectly.
yeah, Agent Orange, Cheeto Jesus. I mean, the nicknames I've heard for this
Cheeto
guy
Jesus.
are endless. So yeah, but anyway, his I don't know. Would you call Charlie Kirk his young protege, his young disciple? I have no idea. But either way, he was no. Yeah, I know. Yeah, shaking your head. That's definitely the right reaction. But I do know that he was known for starting up that Turning Point USA organization way back in 2012. Its main goal seemed to be to go to what people would call liberal leaning college campuses. Here's this lone conservative voice trying to essentially convert them. GOP activists, endless amounts of them, they don't want to go to these kind of places. And Charlie Kirk was that guy that's like, no, I'm going to debate people who don't think the way I do and try to get more followers that way. I guess that's what his logic
He
was.
debated children. He debated children because children go
Yeah.
to college. That's what he
Yeah,
was doing. I mean,
Yes.
we,
And I don't even call it debating because that's not a
thank
debate.
you.
He would literally just argue people down and then say, "Oh, I have the right point." And then anybody who actually challenged him and actually made him stumble, they would just cut the footage and remove it from his
Yes.
little podcast sphere.
Yes, yes. I
got it.
mean, it's really crazy to me, like how people were like, it's free speech, but I mean, I could go to a college campus as a 40-something-year-old and debate a 19-year-old about life, and who's gonna stop me? Like, it's odd
Yeah, the
to
power
me that that
dynamic
was okay.
the power dynamic is pretty clear there. You know, you're the speaker,
Yeah,
you're the host of the event. You can clearly cut someone's feet off or tell someone to leave
absolutely.
through security. So yeah, the power imbalance is totally there. Charlie was very much credited for bringing young people to vote for Trump back in 2024. And to just give you an idea of the response to his death, at least for those who supported him, maybe those who are not as well informed and just see like, oh, he was a husband, he was a father who died, and there
So
was a
was Hitler.
candlelight vigil.
So was Hitler and Mussolini,
That,
and so
okay.
was a lot of people who were terrorists. Sorry, Saddam Hussein.
No,
He
no, no.
was a
You're good.
father
You're
as
good. I
well.
mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Going back to your point, I mean, there are people that will believe what Charlie Kirk believed, or people that did not really know the full story of him, and they just think that media coverage of the candlelight vigil, flags flying at half staff for him, are totally legitimate. But we'll get into why we think otherwise. Trump
Sorry.
gave him the yeah, Trump gave him the Medal of Freedom, and I know there's a memorial service coming up at State Farm Stadium in like I think Glendale, California, coming up on the 21st. So yeah, he's given the total martyr treatment, and uh, you know, for the three of us who don't think he deserves that, I would imagine that that would be very hard to see. So a little bit of
Yeah.
background for the person who killed him. Tyler Robinson, 22-year-old from Utah. He was just charged with murder on
Allegedly. Make
allegedly.
sure
So
you
we
say allegedly because we
Yes, we
do
gotta say
not know.
allegedly. 'Cause- yeah.
okay. So yeah, not proven under the court of law yet. All right. So allegedly, the suspect Tyler Robinson charged with murder on Tuesday. And you know, we've all seen the news coverage about the text confession that he gave to his partner. And I think we're still figuring out, we're still trying to confirm if the partner was transgender. Like, has that been confirmed since? Do we know?
No. And also
No.
those text messages, I'm sorry, did they sound like Shakespeare's soliloquies? They were very like, I was like, who wrote this? This sounds like an old person wrote this. And
Yeah.
Uh,
the whole like pushing towards like it his roommate or his lover or whatever allegedly being transgender is just like is odd to me. Like, I don't know. I think the whole situation, like I've never been a conspiracy theorist that hard. I mean, I do believe we have aliens out there, but I've never thought as a government to have so many loopholes with their talking to us that I've just been like, I'm leaning hard on what's going on because this government is unfounded. Like I've never seen it like this. It's odd. It's like anything that comes up and it's like, hey, question this and question that. I mean, we should always question things, but it's been like I'm hardcore questioning everything I see now coming out of the media, which is I don't know if it's good or bad.
It's terrible. So allegedly, his lover is somebody who is trans. But this fits way too conveniently in the narrative because first they were blaming it on people on the left. And then we find out that his family's super conservative Trumpers, and all of a sudden they're like, well, we have to make a reason for him to be evil. So he got radicalized conveniently by somebody who's trans who lives with him who is now his partner. Like this is just too much of a conspiracy for me to even
It's too
take
much.
in. It doesn't make sense. None
It
of it
makes
makes
no sense.
sense. And even Trump said it himself. You only talk about trans people and the trans monster during an election cycle or when you need to convince people of things. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what's happening now.
His
yeah.
grandmother came out and it was very like everybody was like he's a liberal, he's a liberal. His grandmother was like, no way, we are MAGA, we are not that, please stop saying he was a liberal. His grandmother came out and said it, so it's like what I mean, call it what it is. It's a white on white crime by conservatives, instead of like implicating a lot of us into that. Like it's wild. It's really wild.
Right, right. Well, you had mentioned the text messages sounding like Shakespeare soliloquies, and I definitely want to get more of your thoughts on that because, like, these text messages, they're saying just simply things like, "All right, I have the opportunity to kill one of the nation's leading conservative voices. I'm going to take it." Apparently, there was a note that was under the keyboard of the home of Tyler Robertson and the supposedly transgender partner.
Yeah.
Saying that I'm sorry, I in fact did it. So you're saying that this kind of follows a Shakespeare tragedy. It follows a storyline that just seems too good to be true.
My thing is, I'm being kind of funny when I say it's a Shakespeare soliloquy. It just doesn't sound like someone who's. Have you ever gotten a text from a 22-year-old? It's all like K to the, like I've worked with 22-year-olds. They don't sound like that. Like whoever wrote
Right.
that was not a 22-year-old in the middle of nowhere who, you know, like Gen Zers don't write messages like that. Like, am I the only one who's interacted with like someone in that generation? Like, I was like, this doesn't even sound like someone that age. It's just
I don't think
allegedly,
anybody. Mhm.
Go ahead.
I don't think anybody our age would even write like that. Like
Yeah.
it's so perfectly written to be
Yes,
accusatory.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah, yeah. It just sounds like a boomer wrote it. Like that's what I mean by Shakespeare. And it's just like it sounds very romanticized. It sounds like a boomer would have written it for some sort of film, like to showcase the true villain allegedly. So to me, I'm just kind of like, yeah, no, that doesn't even sound like something. Like, can we see more writings from him? Like something he wrote like on his Facebook or something? Because this is not even Facebook because they're all on TikTok now. But it just I don't know, something doesn't add up for me in those text messages.
Is it possible that the texts were just so like incomprehensible, something that you might expect from a 22-year-old, and then maybe investigators or somebody from the media cleaned it up to make it sound more articulate than what we'd expect from a 22-year-old?
Um, could possibly be, but then why are they tampering with evidence?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
That you shouldn't be touching that. Also, I have a totally random thing to say. Why is it
Yeah.
that the president came out and announced his death and it wasn't a coroner? Has anybody noticed that a coroner has not been like any celebrity that dies from any kind of like murder accident, a coroner comes out and talks about a coroner report. I haven't seen one bit of like news media allegedly that talks about a coroner. Does anybody think that's kind of suspicious? Like,
Well,
I
I'm
didn't
just
even
now
think about
wondering.
that.
Yeah, I've been sitting here going, why hasn't a Utah coroner talked about this? Why did they like? They were so quick. This is a crime. Why were they so quick to bury him? Like, there's usually like an investigation. It takes a week. Why did President Trump know about it? Like it was just it's this is what I'm saying. My mind is going towards conspiracy theory so hard because there's just so many things that don't add up to me logically that I'm just kind of like this doesn't make any sense at all to me.
I'm waiting for the toxicology report because we don't
Yes,
know. It could have been a fentanyl overdose. Like he
yes.
could have
A
had
heart attack?
pneumonia.
Yeah.
Like all kinds of other things could happen. The bullet is not the culprit here. So I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
yeah,
wait.
yeah. I mean, if you
Okay.
fall off a building, usually you have a heart attack before you hit the ground. It's not the impact. It's your body reacting to falling. A lot of times that's what happens. So we haven't heard from a doctor, we haven't heard from a coroner, we haven't heard from any kind of person that is in the medical field. So I'm just confused how they buried him so quickly and they're having memorials and no doctor has come out to talk about this. That's
Yeah.
just my conspiracy, allegedly. I'm putting it out there for anybody out there who's watching this. Like, really think about that.
Right, right. Well, going back to like the background of Tyler Robinson's family. I mean, all I'm getting so far, and this is just kind of information that I've been gathering from the Associated Press. So we know that Tyler Robinson was, or at least what they're telling us, is that he was raised in a Republican household and that his politics just eventually leaned left when he got with this supposedly transgender partner, and that his family essentially turned him in, probably relating to the fact of their politics. So Robinson, in a text, did apparently exchange to the partner that, oh my God, my dad became diehard MAGA since Trump was elected. What's going on? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, you all are, as you're stating your points. I mean, you're putting more questions in my head that I didn't even think were there. Questions that are very valid. Of course, we have to break down like the rhetoric spoken by Charlie Kirk that arguably got him assassinated in the first place. I mean, how can you not? So bear with me because this is a laundry list. You guys tell me to stop if it's becoming too much, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but how he felt about guns going back to 2023, the fact that he said that it was worth it to have gun deaths in order to protect the Second Amendment's right to, keep and bear arms in the United States. What he said about women, particularly women having children. I mean, you go back to what he said on Fox News on the 8th. He said that, quote, having children is more important than having a good career. And I would also tell young ladies, you can always go back to your career later, that there is a window where you primarily should pursue marriage and having children, and that is a beautiful thing, end quote. In terms of birth control and physical attraction in women, he claims that women become angry and bitter when they're on birth control and that they are not attractive in the dating pool over the age of 30. He related abortion to the Holocaust. He called COVID the China virus. He said vaccines that were pretty much like going through apartheid. He promoted that great replacement theory that says that white Americans are going to be replaced by undocumented immigrants. He said on a podcast last year, quote, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified, end quote. He said that the civil rights movement should have never happened. He was against Juneteenth as a holiday. And of course, you get into his comments about the queer community. He said the stoning of gay people was God's perfect law.
Can we stop? Can we stop?
I know, it's a lot.
I'm so disgusted.
I know.
I'm so
I know.
disgusted.
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
I had no idea who this man was until I started looking him up, and I was like, oh, he didn't like me because I'm a woman over 35 and I'm Latin and I'm a woman. Like it's wild to think that I've done nothing to a person or a group of people, but yet they hate me for just existing.
Hmm.
And that the fact that he thought, oh, immigrants are going to overshadow white people. Um, Newsflash, the indigenous people have been here this whole time. And Mexican Americans, if you don't remember, because somehow they've forgotten, Texas and part of California, even Arizona, was Mexico. So indigenous people, Mexicans, have been here a very, very long time. You came over from your little boat and you decided that this was your land, and you kind of like pew pewed some indigenous people, and it's like, oh, this is ours now. That's what happened. Let's be real. And a lot of us are either indigenous or we were brought here on boats against our will, our ancestors. So I mean, yeah, no, this is our land. This is our land. We worked very hard. I work, and you guys as well, I'm sure, work twice as hard as anybody out there to prove ourselves and to have a better life for ourselves. So for someone who has no political background, who dropped out of community college, which is not a big deal, to kind of go after Black and brown people, trans people, LGBTQI people because they exist and he's mad about it. I have no sympathy for them. Murder is
Yeah.
terrible, but why aren't we talking about the children that die all the time from school shootings? That is more critical. I wish we could have a vigil for the kids. There should be a vigil for all these kids that these babies, they're babies that have died from gun violence. But no, we're idolizing a man because of free speech. Free speech comes with consequences too. You can't just say anything out there and just like assume that nothing will happen to you. It's unfortunate what happened to him, but I don't have to I don't have to mourn him because I don't mourn celebrities. That's all do it.
I don't know. Maybe this is feeding into the whole authority. I can't even say the word. Let's say the dictatorship quality of MAGA. Maybe this is giving into it, but
Yeah.
I feel like we should make distinct the difference between free speech and hate speech. I think
Yes.
that I don't know. I just feel like, okay, speak freely, but if
Yeah, of
your
course.
speech is oppressing, denying the humanity of others, should it be free? Like that's just how I feel. I don't know. I mean,
I
Now,
mean,
the,
people
go
should
ahead, AJ.
be free with their speech. I'm sorry, I'm like cutting everybody off.
No,
I'm
you're
just
it's
fine.
really
fine.
passionate about it. I'm so angry about this. You should be allowed to say whatever you want out there, but just understand that your words have consequences and they weigh
Yeah.
heavy. And especially if they're negative and they're attacking people for no reason at all. You just hate a bunch of people because they just exist. Your words have consequences, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. Go ahead, AJ.
I mean, they're trying to blur the lines between hate speech and free speech. And no matter how anybody in this world feels about it, saying something out of your mouth with your own two lips, nobody should ever be able to stop you from saying that. If you want to say something, say it. But you do have to understand words mean things and energy comes back to you. If you call me the
Totally.
F word walking down the street and I turn around and punch you in the face, that's what you got. You spoke with
Exactly.
your mouth, I spoke with my hands. We have the free speech to do that. Now, me assaulting you would lead to some kind of criminal charge, and that's the consequence of my action that I took back on you. So I'm starting to really hate seeing where we are. Just yesterday, Trump literally threatened Jonathan Carl and said people are going to come after him because of him being using hate speech, even though he's just reporting the news. So they're actively working to change the narrative of free speech, hate speech. They want to say that what they are saying is free speech, and anything that opposes what they say is hate speech. And Pam Bondi has even said they're going to start prosecuting people for talking negative or not outwardly mourning, but celebrating the death of somebody or using hate speech. They already put forth something to end people's, to take their passport away if they
Yes.
speak out against Israel. So, how can we say that somebody expressing that they don't like what's happening in some place as hate speech and then all of a sudden they're punished? But there's free speech to say, oh, black people are killing each other. That's black people's problem. How is that not hate speech? But this is.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't make sense. Yeah, and going back to the Trump administration response of it all, I mean, to see that there are certain groups, like nonprofit groups, that they're classifying as what, domestic terrorists. Uh, yeah, yeah, just because they don't align with your beliefs. We had JD Vance not too long ago, I believe, on a podcast saying that the crazies on the far left are to blame.
Can I just say something about JD Vance real quick? I'm
Sure.
sorry. I find it incredibly offensive that during the memorial of one of the most tragic things that's ever happened in this country, September 11th, he decided to cancel attending any events to go and help Erica Kirk, and then he recorded a podcast episode of Charlie's podcast instead
Yeah,
of respecting American citizens that died by the thousands in America. And I found it so offensive. Like, not that I was like a big fan of him to start with, but I was just like, does anybody not think this is disgusting? That they also kind of try to overshadow September 11th with Charlie Kirk. And I was like, are you kidding me? That was what?
yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, between the
I don't even know
9/11
what to
anniversary
say.
and Charlie Kirk, you didn't know which was the bigger story that day. It was insane. Yeah,
It's crazy, crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
disgusting. He hosted that podcast like a vampire, and I'm just
Hmm.
more concerned for the couches that were in that room because there were a few. So let's pray for the couches in that podcast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
JD
also,
Vance.
can I just say something? Another
Yeah.
thing about JD Vance, he went through conversion therapy. And
He
that's really
went through
scary to
conversion
me
therapy.
because,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, he went through conversion therapy because, the church doesn't like homosexuals. And so he went through therapy. Mike Pence went through conversion therapy. And I don't know, all those men who do that, I kind of find scary because they're going against their nature,
Yeah,
you know? And it's always been very, like, anytime someone was like, yeah, that person went through, they do look like vampires because they're not living the truth and they're like angry about life that they've been pushed into this. Just putting it out there, allegedly. But yeah, he went through conversion therapy for
yeah.
sure.
Well,
He did.
one of Charlie Kirk's most well-known statements was like, "Oh, the trans community should be treated like how people were treated in the 50s and 60s." And part of that was, yes, conversion therapy, violence upon people that are not of this sort of white cisgender male model. So, yeah, it's very dangerous. Go ahead, AJ.
It's just disgusting. Anybody who goes through conversion therapy, I know that they have suffered massive amounts of abuse, and I just hope they get the help they need because
Yes.
Yeah.
it's an abusive system.
It is absolutely. I mean, and for anybody who's making public statements that are reasonably balanced in terms of like the Charlie Kirk of it all, they're getting reprimanded. They're getting fired for it. And I'll just give a few examples. I know that Gerald Bourget, from the online sports news site Think Sports was fired for his comments, and basically his opinion, quote, refusing to mourn a life devoted to that cause is not the same thing as celebrating gun violence. Truly don't care if you think it's insensitive or poor timing to decline to respect an evil man who died, end quote. You have Matthew Dowd from MSNBC, who got fired because he said that hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And Comcast, in response, said that, essentially Matthew wasn't, producing civil dialogue, wasn't willing to listen to points of view other than his own. But I counter that with that James Baldwin quote that I gave to you, Andrew. Probably the biggest thing that is permeating through my mind, which is, quote, "We can disagree and still love each other unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression and denial of my humanity and right to exist," end quote.
Yes.
So that James Baldwin quote
Yes.
lives in me. And yeah, other firings like Washington Post columnist Karen Adada, Middle Tennessee State University fires somebody, NASDAQ fires somebody, the U.S. Secret Service, United Airlines, they fired people. So it's, it's quite possible to say violence is wrong, and also the man that was killed was wrong. So we don't have to celebrate him as if what he did was right. I just don't think it's that complicated of a statement to make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think it is either. And the thing that I hate is because we all know and we want to say violence is not the answer, but every day America shows us that violence is the answer. If
Yeah.
we want violence to not be the answer in our actions, starting from the top of the government, violence needs to stop. And everybody's saying it's rhetoric and that shit. Rhetoric is not the problem. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. We could all talk nicely to each other, but we all still have access to guns and ammunition that should not be available to just the everyday person on the street. So
Yeah.
I hate it all.
Yeah. And to children, children have access to their parents' guns and they shoot up schools, like I just mentioned. Like that's my biggest concern about children and innocent, very innocent children being shot up. Where's the outrage for that? Like it's thoughts
Mhm.
and prayers, but it's like, no, our babies shouldn't. When I was a kid, school was my favorite place to be. It was so safe for me. I lived in a very dangerous neighborhood, and my two favorite places where I felt safe was school and the library. Imagine, imagine some other child feeling the same way, and now that's been taken away from them.
Mhm.
Yeah. I went, yeah, going off of your point, when I was a kid, school was just, all right, we're just going to class. I'm possibly being bored or I'm being entertained by other classmates, and that was it. And now to go to a school as a kid and then you have to learn shooting drills or what have you,
Yeah.
and maybe you have certain adult figures that are advocating for kids to come into school armed. Like it's bizarre. It's some kind of militant war mentality that shouldn't be there when you're a kid, and you should have an innocence of just learning and going home and then doing it again the next day. It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's weird when I think about it. The party of people who have been denying the reality of school shootings loses their idol at a school shooting, and they're still doing nothing to stop school shootings.
Yeah,
The irony,
all
huh?
about that Second Amendment. All about that Second Amendment. There seems to be this idea that if we try to limit access to guns to those who are not mentally fit to have guns, all of a sudden that means the mentally fit people who have guns don't have guns anymore. It's like, no, like we could have a background check process. We can have a legislation process
Yes.
where if you are a mentally fit person, maybe you're using it for hunting or for protection from your home, fine. But if you are someone with a history of mental health issues and what have you, maybe you shouldn't have that. Like I don't understand. I mean, we've been at this fight since going back to, I don't know, arguably Sandy Hook and Obama.
Columbine. Bine.
Columbine, yeah,
Remember?
Columbine, yeah, yeah. You could go back to Bill Clinton's era with Columbine, but
Yeah.
I definitely remember it ramping up during Obama's two terms when you had Sandy Hook and all those other school shootings, and he was just clearly worn out by trying to pass legislation, and the Republican Congress is just like, no, you're not going to take away our guns. Yeah, it's terrible. Here we are, more than a decade or two later, and we're still fighting the same fight.
It's more difficult to get an abortion or to start on PrEP than it is to get a gun in this country. That
Yeah,
is the craziest thing in the world to me.
yeah. It is. It is. Yeah, so I want to put a button on this conversation. I want to get all of your thoughts, just closing, as to what you've. I'm curious as to like your first thoughts when you heard the Charlie Kirk story, your thoughts as it may have developed throughout the last week. Let's close out with that. I'm just going to close with yes, political violence should not be allowed on both sides. That is a sentiment I agree with. I don't know how are we going to unify behind that sentiment when the president of the United States, the unifier of our country, is not unifying behind that sentiment? Because when you have the president of the United States saying, okay, it's this side that's doing all this, when clearly it's not, he's talking about the side that iconically is all for gun control, less guns. When you have that person saying, oh no, it's this side and we have to get rid of them, how exactly are we going to sustain this message of political violence is wrong no matter what side you are coming from? And I guess also as a partisan, someone who leans left on a lot of issues, maybe this is arguably like, feeding into what the president wants, but I think that something that could likely lead to political violence is having rhetoric that is the opposite of promoting human rights. Like, I'm a human, I have a right to exist regardless of gender or sexuality, I have a right to an economy that works for me. Like, if you have pretty much the polar opposite of all that, then going back to what Matthew Dowd said at MSNBC, like, hateful words, hateful rhetoric like that could have hateful consequences. So I don't condone Tyler Robinson's act, but the anger that he might have felt behind that, I can certainly relate to. So that's just kind of my closing thoughts throughout all this, is that maybe we should take a hard look at why we're celebrating Charlie Kirk. Go ahead. Massiel, you want to start?
Yeah, I have a lot to say about the mental state of our president. I've been
Sure.
on this earth for, if nobody knew, for 7 years. And I've never heard and I've gone through presidents. I was a teenager in the 90s. I was a kid in the 80s. I've never heard a president ever talk the way he talks. It's wild that instead of saying something that's unifying us and encouraging us to en- encounter peace, he's like, "Oh, it's the radical left. It's their fault. They've messed up." And it's like I've never heard that, and I question sometimes his sanity. A lot of people allegedly have talked about him having dementia and being physically ill, and how well he is and capable to run this country. I never thought he could. And the fact that he's been president again for a second term is wild to me.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I want to put out there to you guys. Second, I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was because I'm not part of that political party or political group. The fact that I had to go research, because I actually know how to research, because a lot of people say research and not know, and find out the most abhorrent, disgusting, just grotesque things he said about Black and brown people and gay and queer people. I'm still, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone because people are like, oh, he was about freedom of speech. But yeah, of course you can have freedom of speech in this country, but it doesn't mean freedom of consequence. And I don't applaud murder. I don't applaud gun violence. But his last words were violence. He was at an anti-trans rally at a college with children talking about anti-trans rhetoric. Just let that sit there for a minute. I'm not going to mourn a celebrity. That's not my thing. I'll mourn my family, my friends. And for people to be so up in arms that Black and brown people are not mourning him really, really shows us who really are our allies out there. I'm very much a part of the spiritual community. I'm an astrology girly. I could tell you what's going on in the planets. And to see people in that community say the most disgusting things, to be like, oh, pro Charlie Kirk, really saddens me. And it shows me who my allies are. With all that said, um, they're trying to silence us, and we need to continue fighting, and continue to speak our mind, because one's person interpretation of free speech has been very much compromised, and the way they think of us and the way they, and when I say us, Black, brown, LGBTQ, trans women, um, is bizarre. I don't know what's going on, but I will continue to speak my mind because I still have that freedom, you know? And another more physical thing that people could do, write to your congressman, write to your rep. They're there for you. And remember when voting season, because New York, we're having the mayor running right now is happening. Please just go out there. Don't just vote for the mayor. Find out who your rep is. Find out who who all these other people are. I started doing that because I just only voted for like the main person. Just really learn about the government in your city because that's what's important right now. So,
Yeah. And I will say, to add to the black and brown people not mourning him, why should we? Because we were blamed for this. HBCUs were
yes.
on lockdown, and then
Oh, yes.
it's a 22-year-old white kid from Utah that did it. So, so I
From the
think we
MAGA
have every
family.
reason. Yeah, yeah, yeah. From a MAGA family. Yeah. So AJ, go ahead. Your thoughts. Yeah, as we close out this conversation.
So I don't feel empathy for what happened to Charlie Kirk because he said he does not believe in empathy. So I have no
Yeah.
reason to show empathy to that. And to anybody who hears this and they say, I hope that President Trump changes his rhetoric and I hope President Trump learns from this, I need you to wake the fuck up. I am so
Yeah.
fucking tired of having to say, Maya Angelou said, when somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. And he
Believe
has
it.
shown us over 100 times who he is. That man is not going to change. The words that
Not
are
at all.
coming out of his mouth are not going to change. And it won't change until he is no longer in power. So it takes a large majority, including people that are on that side, that don't agree with what comes out of his mouth to start speaking up. The same way they said it's too big to rig the election, this has to be too big for him to speak louder than us.
Yes.
So that's where I feel with that. When I heard the news that he got shot, I was like, oh, okay. And I think I ordered dinner because I was like, this is not my fight. This is nothing for me to deal with.
Yes.
This,
Yeah.
but
But the white people
mhm.
who were responsible for the HBCU lockdown, they made you think that this was your fight and that you had something to do with it. So, yeah,
I
I
mean,
think there was a saying. I feel like God, maybe there was a saying somewhere where it's like, oh, once you like reach the age of 60 or over, like you're not going to change, like you're going to be set in your ways, something of
Yes.
that nature. I'm paraphrasing. Trump is pushing 80, and I
Yeah.
mean, going back to the 70s, we've known who this guy is. So the fact that people are still second term, 50 years into Trump, still saying, oh, I hope this is a wake up call. I mean, the guy almost got shot last summer in Butler, Pennsylvania. He's still the same. Like, he's not
It
going to change.
doesn't change.
Yeah.
And can I just say something like totally off the cuff about Trump? The fact that New York, Manhattan is so expensive is because of him. The fact that Atlantic City, New Jersey is destroyed is because of him. He is a businessman, yes, but he banked throughout everything. And
Yeah.
and when people say, "Oh, he's a businessman, he's going to run our country as a business," have you seen his businesses?
Yeah.
We know that's why he hates New Yorkers. He hates New Yorkers because we know better. We know what he's about, and he hates us. He like wanted to bring in the National Guard here, and it's like, for what? There's nothing like New York has always been like, well, what is going on? Like he's destroyed so many things, but yet people are like, well, like I don't even know. Well, what's like it's infuriating. It's infuriating. It's like, come on, wake the fuck up. This is you need to stand on 10 toes. Like, let's do like I don't know. I'm starting to get real like heated. Let me get my scrunchie.
No, no, no. You're good. You're good. I totally get it. The anger is totally legitimate.
Oh,
Um, and Trump does yes, we don't like him, but he does a great job at this surface level marketing. People see images of this guy who appears to be rich, who has all this supposed gold and all these big buildings. He was on The Apprentice. He, has made a certain mark on real estate. He had this best-selling book. He had this casino that eventually went bankrupt. I mean, they see all these things and they think, oh, this guy must know what he's talking about. But all it takes is just sitting down, reading a book, reading a nice, deep investigative article, watching a documentary to know that this guy is a con artist. So here, America got conned. is where we
yes.
are. And
Yeah.
as much as I don't want to see my country get conned at the same time, it seems like we're at a point where we need to be conned to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to take some severe, severe pain and suffering through financial woes. I mean, look at the farmers in Arkansas who are going bankrupt right now because they don't have ability to sell their crops. Like, it's
Yeah.
going to take people feeling the pain of what is happening to do something. And if it's not too late at that point, maybe something can change. But I said it before. It is time for people to start having serious conversations with their friends and family members and start ostracizing those people and letting them know that this is not okay. And if you can't get with the program, you got to understand the program is bigger than you. Because right now, where we're headed, capitalism is about to eat America. America will never eat capitalism until we all work together to change it. And we are on the verge of being swallowed up.
Speaking of
Speaking
eating,
of the
I can't afford food.
yeah. Food.
I'm losing weight because I don't eat. Like
I
it's like
hmm
2 meals a day, guys. Keep it small.
yeah.
Ugh,
I'm losing weight because of stress, but I get what you mean.
yeah.
Oh boy. So you know what? I think this may be the question I want to close out with, because it's very difficult when you have people in your lives, family, friends, who you know voted for this man, and you kind of want to like get at them, but at the same time, there can be this resignation of like, all right, if you don't get it at this point, then what is the point? Like, how do you deal with the relationships with those people? Because Andrew, I mean, AJ, I know that you have family that have voted for Trump. I've been told I have family that voted for Trump. So
I have family too.
yeah, oh yeah. So I how do you I don't know. It's weird because you feel like you should address it and have a conversation, but at the same time, I'm someone who tends to be afraid of that kind of conflict in person. So I just kind of take the tone of like, all right, you voted how you voted, and we'll just see what happens. But I don't know, maybe that kind of avoidance is not going to be good long term. So how do you guys deal with it? How do you guys navigate people in your own lives and how they voted for this man?
My friends and my family members who have made it very clear their MAGA stance and voting for him, I said it myself to them. I do not want to associate with you until you understand what you have voted for. I very clearly, I'm not going to be upset at you. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to debate with you. We're not having conversations about politics. There's nothing to be said between the two of us for those things. Because the one thing that I have always believed in this world, you cannot carry other people with you all the time if you want to survive. It is just
Yeah,
like an airplane. Put your mask on first before you help the person next to you. And if you can't help them, they need to be able to help themselves and figure it out. It's not that I'm ostracizing you to say that you can never come back, but you need to know you have voted for somebody and you're pushing rhetoric from people who have literally said that someone like me, a black gay man, does not deserve to be alive. So I can't sit here and kiki with you and say, oh, we're all good. You voted how you voted. No, you
yeah,
literally chose somebody who said they would love to see me dead just because I exist. So I
yeah,
can't. And having that conversation just very direct works for me because I'm just going to approach something very directly when it bothers me. This is where we are. I'm not going to be fake with you. Go about your business. I don't hate you, but you got to go out there on your own.
Yeah. I agree with that sentiment. As a Latin person and with everything that's going on with ICE, I kind of, if I see Latins who voted for him, I'm like, it's like roaches for raid. It's roaches for
Mhm.
raid. Like, how are you even? Like, do you see, like, prior to him being elected and the whole Project 2025, people were like, oh, that's not going to happen. He's doing it. I have to walk around with my passport because my name is Latin, even though
Mhm.
my family come from Puerto Rico, and Puerto Ricans have been citizens since 1916. My great grandparents, my grandparents, my mom and dad were citizens. So you're now it's like there's laws that discriminate against Latinos. So if I'm outside and someone just gets a whiff that I'm Latin, or they hear me speaking Spanish, which is one of my first languages, they could pick me up and take me to an ICE facility. It's
Mhm.
wild. It's wild out there. And for MAGA to be so comfortable, like, and people with MAGA ties to be so comfortable, like, well, it is what it is. No, it's not. You voted for this. And it's, to me, it's so disturbing. I cut them off. I don't have time to talk to people. I'll let you know that I don't agree with you, and then we're cut off and we're done. Because and maybe people are going to say, oh, she's being extreme. No, no. How could you vote for this? There are people being torn from their families. The whole ICE raid thing was like to pick up criminals. Half of these people were at the court getting recertifying their, residency or at work. How are they? It boggles the mind. It's boggled the mind. And as someone who's lived in California for 3 years and moved back, and seeing these places that I used to frequent empty because they picked up everybody because they're like, we're going to send them back. They're not even sending them back to, they're not even deporting people. They're human trafficking people because they're sending them to Africa. It's it's wild what's going on in this country. I have no time for MAGAs and maggots or whatever they are. It's destroyed this country. And maybe this country needed to be brought down to be built back up. But, to have this rhetoric that he's doing a good job, no, absolutely not. Whatever, you got to get out of this cult. We need to get these people out of this cult. Right now, I just don't have time to talk to them. I have to take care of my own sanity and make sure that my people are doing okay. And then maybe we can work on them, but absolutely not. And I agree with what you said, AJ. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for this very cathartic conversation. I mean, it's definitely much needed, and the Charlie Kirk story still hasn't gone away, so we'll see how it develops as time goes by. All right, let's balance this very much needed intense conversation with some lighter fare. We usually wrap up our episodes with a pop culture sampler. So the three of us are gonna give a piece of pop culture, TV show, music, movie, whatever that we've consumed that we recommend you try, kind of like a sampler at Costco. Massiel, since you're our special guest, how about you go first? What would you like to recommend?
I brought back the harmonica.
Your
I
harmonica
used to
playing?
use it. Yeah, remember I did it. I did it for one of the episodes. I was like, I just brought it
Yeah. Oh
back.
my
I was just
god.
like, let's change the energy right now.
Yeah. There you go. That should be our theme song
Woo!
for samplers.
For me,
Yeah.
as someone who is I don't like to use the word weeb, but I am an anime devotee. AJ is as well, if you can see in his background. I am really, really excited about the Demon Slayer movie. It is an anime that has appeared in both, I think it's in Hulu and it's on Crunchyroll. There is a movie, and you can go to theaters. Support your local weeb because Congress is trying to take away anime from us. Go check it out. I heard it's amazing. I'm going to try to watch it this weekend. My friends have been like, oh, it's incredible. I actually have two, if you don't mind. I have a
Yeah, of
secondary
course.
one that I want to talk about as well.
Yeah.
For a lot of us out there who are having a lot of pressure and feeling like, oh God, this world is insane, I would like to um, tell, kind of suggest an app that's really great. It's called Inside Timer. It is a meditation prayer, not prayer like super, super Christian stuff, because I know there's a couple that like Gwen Stefani, she's another. We're not gonna talk. We're not gonna talk about it right now.
Yeah.
um,
That's a whole other
so
episode.
Insight
Yeah.
Timer, look it up. It's good for meditation, affirmations, prayers, and stuff. If you just need to take 5 minutes to just like, I do it every morning. I do a little, even though I seem really angry. I'm not so angry, guys. It's just certain topics. After this, I'm gonna do my little kiki and be like, my breathing, and be like,
Yeah.
I am golden. I am highly favored. You just need 5 minutes to do that in the morning, just to be like, because this world is hard, guys. This is the
Mhm.
craziness that's going. This is the Twilight Zone. I'm starting to think that Ron Sterling knew something. He was a time traveler. Him and Cat Williams are time travelers,
Mm.
and they know something we don't know. I'm like, you guys are time travelers because I've been using the word Twilight Zone way too frequently lately. So if you need something, you need like a second, like go in the bathroom, get away from your kids for like 2 minutes. There's like a minute meditation and just like put it on. There's music. Inside Timer is another thing I'd like to suggest to you guys. So go get it. It's an app in all the app stores. And
I
I'm
love
not like
that.
sponsored.
Okay. AJ?
Demon Slayer is amazing. I'm not going to spoil a single thing about it.
Did you
I'm
go see
just going
it?
to encourage. I did. I've seen it 3 times now. So I it's that good. When y'all get a chance to go see Infinity Castle, now I saw it dubbed and not dubbed. The not dubbed Japanese version, I think, is glorious. The English dub is just as amazing. Go see it. Bring tissue. You will cry.
I love that.
And then,
I've
oh,
heard,
go ahead.
I've heard good things about it. Yeah, the box office results for Demon Slayer I read were pretty good, so that's good that it's getting a lot of buzz.
It broke the record for best grossing anime film since 1993, and that was Pokemon, the first movie that broke that record.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So right now it's like at like 70 or 80 million for its box office opening. It's
Damn.
worth it. Ah, man. And just again, you're going to cry. You will not be able to help it. Everybody in the movie theater with me, every time I have gone, has cried at some point in the movie, except for that one guy who got beat up during the movie.
Oh
So,
no!
Wow. What?
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 okay,
Somebody
rightfully
Explain.
get beat up?
so.
Tell
So he
me. I
did. So
haven't. I
this
didn't hear that.
this guy
Yeah,
who
who
was at
got
the
beat
movie
up?
theater is circulating online, and the story has come out that this man who was sitting next to him didn't want to miss a very intense portion of the movie. I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is. Don't go watch the video if you don't want that moment in the movie spoiled for you, because you can see it
Wow.
in the background. But this man, he had to go pee. He didn't want to get up and go to the bathroom, so he ended up peeing on the floor of the theater, and some people were saying it was into a popcorn bucket, but it spilled and it got on the man who was next to him. So this man gets up and he is pummeling this guy in the
Oh my
seat
God.
as the movie is happening.
God.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Who
If you
does
have to
that?
go, you gotta go.
Someone's like,
God.
go to the bathroom beforehand. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Don't,
And even
you know,
during the
a tip
movie.
for even during the movie, a tip for anybody: if you don't want to miss a portion of it because it's a long movie, do not drink a lot of stuff, or make sure your bladder is empty before that movie starts. Because every single second something is happening, and if you don't want to get up, don't have things to make you go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
AJ, can I
Mhm.
ask, do you think that if people were to see it that weren't Demon Slayer fans, should they go watch the show, like maybe first season, to kind of get up to date to it? Or do you think they can go and stand alone watch it?
You can go stand alone and watch it, but there are moments that you won't understand. Um, if you're gonna go, I would suggest at least watching Infinity Train at home
Okay.
and then going to watch Infinity Castle, because it'll make a little more sense. You won't have every single detail. You won't understand Tanjiro's breathing techniques. You won't get that
Yes.
if you haven't at least watched Infinity Train.
Got it.
Hmm,
Got it.
I love it.
I have
I
to
Um,
love it.
go.
I have what's called pre-theater anxiety. I always make sure that I go to the bathroom at my fullest extent before the movie starts. Even while the movie is playing, I'm like, oh my god, is this the moment where I gotta go pee? I don't know.
Yeah,
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 like it's real because you do have this pressure like when you're in the theater and it's like 2 hours uninterrupted. Like, oh, I don't want to get up and miss anything. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. But anywho,
yeah.
I do.
did you have
I
another
have a technique,
recommendation, by
and
the
then I'll
way?
get to my spoiler. And so, my
Yeah.
technique for anybody else to the movies, because my spoiler is another movie. Well, my sampler is another movie. Um, I get a bottle of Gatorade when I'm at the movie, or I buy one there, and I only drink about half the bottle. Like, I monitor how much I drink, because before I
Wow.
go to the movie theater, I'm going pee everything. But I know as long as I keep it at that full bottle of Gatorade, I'm probably not going to have to go to the bathroom during the movie.
I
Mm.
sip my water. I sip my water. I have the bladder of a,
Same.
I don't even know. My bladder is like just tiny. So I go to the bathroom
Mhm.
beforehand and I have a bottle of whatever and I little bitty sips because I don't want to miss it, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I buy my
Now,
$10 bottle of water that the movie theaters charge, and then it's just like little sips, little sips. But yeah, sorry, go ahead, AJ. What's your sampler?
Hey, go
now
ahead.
my sampler is not a happy movie. It is The Long Walk. I think everybody should go see this movie if you love horror, or if you were a fan of The Hunger Games and you want a much more adult version of it. Go watch The Long Walk. It's a Stephen King movie. Um, every actor in this movie does amazing, and Just the premise, it's 50 men who are going on a walk, and the walk does not stop until there's only one person left. You have to keep
Oh my God.
walking until there's only one person. And it's very good.
Thank you so much.
Oh
Yeah, I
wow.
remember I remember you were hyping up the Long Walk a couple episodes ago. So I know that and Demon Slayer they're doing pretty good at the box office. So thank you for that. As we get into Halloween season, I am look. I love a good comfort food rom com. Me and my wife Tony over the weekend and I think this might still be the number one movie on Netflix right now. We saw The Wrong Paris, which
Oh,
is a I know, yeah, it's like this West. What are you laughing at, Massiel? Do you know the movie?
I I I heard about it, and go ahead, go ahead. I'll say what I need to say because it reminded me of something else.
Well, it's yeah, yeah, it's a very Western romance dating reality show rom comming kind of thing. It stars Miranda Cosgrove, which if you guys are familiar with her
Yeah,
from
iCarly.
of course, iCarly and Drake and Josh before that on Nickelodeon. Yeah, 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 yeah. Miranda Cosgrove. She is all grown. She's trying to, carve out this new identity with with this kind of content. So, basic summary from IMDb that I hope doesn't spoil anything. A woman, Miranda Cosgrove, joins a dating show thinking it's in Paris, France for an art opportunity. She wants to get into art school and she thinks, oh, let me, go win this money from this dating show to help afford art school. But she finds out that she's not in Paris, France. She's in Paris, Texas. So she is. Exactly. So yeah, basically, it's about like her comically trying to get out of this show as much as possible because she doesn't really want to fall in love. She just wants the $20,000 appearance fee, but of course, she ends up falling for this very boring, conventionally attractive white cowboy lead. So, look, if you are in the mood for this basic rural Western vibe rom com, I say go for it. It's one of those movies where it's not phenomenal, it's not terrible, it's just right in between of like, yeah, it's a good comfort
That's
90-minute
right.
watch. Um, and I do like the message that they portray in the movie where it's good to be reminded that like personal ambition and falling in love, it doesn't have to be two different things. You don't have to choose between either or. So that's something that I love that the movie promoted. And going back to the boring white cowboy lead of it all, look, for those of you listening, watching, you want to call me woke, I don't give a shit. I just find it boring that we always have white people in the leads of these types of movies. I just don't want to see it anymore. I just want to have it mixed up. Um,
Oh,
so give me a
yes,
cowboy movie with
yes,
I don't know. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, give me like a black
yes.
cowboy, a Latina cowgirl, an Asian cowboy, a black
A
cowgirl. I don't
queer
care.
cowboy. I want to see a queer cowboy wearing makeup, being a strong
Yeah.
man wearing makeup, doing his thing, um, having long like yes, yes. You talk, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
nothing
yes.
against Miranda Cosgrove and her white male co-star, but I was literally talking to my wife Tony. I'm just like, just imagine how like boring and overwhelming and maybe hard, but also just boring that casting session would be, which is just, oh, here are all these different types of guys that are the same kind of white and good looking, and let's just find someone that vibes well with Miranda Cosgrove, and then we'll go. And I don't know. Maybe it's the Yellowstone phenomenon. Maybe it's the MAGA
Yes,
phenomenon that is producing this sort of like, all right, we have to have Western romances with white leads all the time. But I want something different because
different.
if people of color
yes.
can play supporting characters in these movies, they can play leads. So let's just get to that level.
Yes, yes. I was gonna say
There,
I was a casting director for a bit, and it doesn't come down to the casting itself. Like people always say, "Oh, casting, you guys cast." It's actually production. So whoever funded the project are the ones with the last word. Because
Hey.
I've worked in casting, and we've picked a person. We're like, "That's the guy that's gonna get it," and it ends up being somebody else, and you're like,
Hmm.
"What?" Because they've decided that that's what the image they wanted.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was making me laugh was the Paris, Texas reference. I was reminded by that whole TikTok with the girls who went to Africa because they wanted to go to
oh
Nice,
my
France.
God.
I was like, oh my gosh, a movie that is fictional about what just happened. I'm kind of like, is that like I I don't trust anything anymore. I'm like, that had to be like a setup. Like, how do you get that mixed up? Like, how do you get on a plane? It's like, is this going to France? It's like, no, it's going to Africa. What are you talking about? Like what?
The plane ticket,
What?
the plane ticket will
it's
clearly read where you're supposed to be going. Like, look
Yes.
at the plane ticket. Look at your itinerary, please.
the it's
They
the
were like,
fact
we
that
sent
these
the
girls did not know. They didn't know how to spell or read because Nice and Tunis are two different words.
it was
Oh,
Mm-mm.
that's what it
wild.
was.
Like when I saw that video, I was like, this has got to be fake. Because how do you go? How do you not know that? I've gone to, first of all, airports freak me out because I am nobody really knows what kind of brown I am. So I get stopped at the airport a lot. And it's just like, and people don't believe me. And I'm like, no, no, no. Last time I went international, I got stopped like 3 times. Like people check my bags. I'm like, I
Wow.
don't have anything in there. Stinky laundry. You want to see it? Like, so for me to think that someone got on a plane, went through security, went through, not even gets to boarding pass people, drops off their luggage, goes through security, gets to the front of the line, has a physical ticket in their hand, and still doesn't know where they're going. That's like,
Yeah,
So
it's
what?
insane.
it's
It's
wild.
so wild.
It's
And nonetheless,
wild.
it makes an
Wait,
entertaining
no.
Netflix movie. So yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
I've
I'll
got
watch
one
it.
movie recommendation for you. If you
Okay.
want to see a good
Yeah.
movie with Asian cowboys, Asian cowgirls, the entire movie is a Western movie with an entire Asian cast. Watch
Ooh.
Sukiyaki Western Django. It is one
Sukiyaki.
of the best movies I've ever seen.
Is it a
Wow.
K drama? I am all for K dramas.
So all of the actors I think are Korean, but it's a Tarantino film. And it is so good. So it's called Sukiyaki Western Django. It came out, I want to say, in
Oh,
like 2011, and it is phenomenal.
oh, okay.
All right. I'll definitely have to look into that. Is it it might hopefully it will be on a streaming service somewhere.
It might be, I have no idea. I never looked. I have it on DVD because it's that phenomenal movie. And I bought the DVD when the movie premiered.
Oh wow. It reminds
Mhm.
me, you know, and now I have a recommendation too, because you said that. Remember, have
Yeah,
you
of
seen the
course. Yeah.
movie Casa de tus Padres, which is with
No.
Will
I
Ferrell
have seen
speaking
that.
Spanish? You have? Okay, okay. I feel like
Yes.
I'm the only one that's seen that. I think that's a great movie. Everyone's speaking in Spanish, even Will Ferrell, who's the lead, and it's a
Mhm.
predominantly Latino cast. Casa de tu Padre, the house of your parents. And
Oh.
since Christina Aguilera sings the theme to like High Heaven,
Mhm.
it's hilarious. But I loved it because it was like it's so campy, and seeing Will Ferrell like speaking Spanish made me laugh so hard. And I was like, but that's a fun Western movie, Casa de tus Padres, or The House of Your Parents.
It's
Love that. All
good.
right, my recommendation list. It's getting full. I love that. I love that. All right. Well, I think that wraps up a quite a balanced episode of the Delicious Culture. I mean, we've had quite a bit of tasty scrumptiousness with the samplers, and then we balanced that out with fillet of fish that's just been sitting out in the sun for too long. That is Charlie Kirk. So we are varied. We are varied, and I love that. Anyway, listen to us wherever you get podcasts. For those of you who like to listen only, Apple, Spotify, SiriusXM, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to see the video, Spotify and YouTube, please like, comment, share. Tell your friends, tell your family. We love it. If you have feedback, and I wouldn't be surprised if you did about this episode, thedeliciousculture@gmail.com, thedeliciousculture@gmail.com. And on social media, we're at The Delicious Culture on Instagram, Threads, Reddit, YouTube. Again, follow, subscribe, comment, like, share. It means a lot. I think on Apple, you can still leave reviews. I don't really hear
Yes,
that being promoted as much, but yes, please. If you
you
listen on
can.
Apple Podcasts, if you leave a review, it definitely helps the algorithm and helps people find us. So that would be great if you, in fact, like the podcast. At Delicious Culture on TikTok, same. Follow, like, share. Helps us out wonderfully. Maciel, you're our special guest. We would love you to promote your socials. How can people find you?
You can find me by Maciel NH anywhere in social media land. You can find me by MacielHernandez.com. That's my podcast. My podcast is Black Hole Sun Podcast, and it we do spooky ghost stories. We also do anime. My last episode was about Bubblegum Crisis and Bubblegum Crash. Have you heard that one, AJ? That
I
is a
have
90s.
seen Bubblegum Crisis.
Come check us out. We're talking about the dynamic of 90s '90s anime and the female empowerment and all that other stuff. And I
Nice.
try to keep it bite-sized so you can enjoy it. So come on over.
I
I will
love
be there.
that.
If
And
y'all
AJ.
ever do Samurai Pizza Cats, let me know. I will be there.
Okay. Okay. And mine is more audible, less visual. I'm leaning into doing it one day. When I do more ghost stories, like when I'm planning to go to the catacombs of Paris one day, and that will
Yeah.
be very much a visual thing. But for
Yeah.
right now, we're just doing audio, and it's just me. But come check me out.
I
Awesome.
will. Okay,
Audio's always the
one little
best.
recommendation I'm going to give you before you go to the catacombs. Go see the movie As Above, So Below.
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen it. That's where I want
Okay,
to go.
yes, that is
I love it. Where am I finding?
it.
Oh my God, that's another movie you gotta watch. It is so good. Like it's so underrated. Like when I saw it, like one day I was just going through. I don't know what it was. It was like Amazon film, and I was like, "What is this?" And I watched it. And I was like, "This is kind of good. This is pretty good." And that I was like, "Yeah, I should definitely go. When I go to Paris, I should go to the catacombs." Thank you. I'm glad we're on the same
Mhm.
wavelength.
I love
Yes.
that. I love that. How can people find you, AJ?
You can find me on TikTok until December 13th, depending on what happens, y'all. Now we got a new deadline,
No.
but December 13th right now
Yeah,
No.
is
December
the
13th.
so December
Yeah.
13th is
Yeah. So
when TikTok
yeah,
will
go ahead.
no longer be updated in the United States because if the frameworks of the deal that are being worked on now, and we're going to find out hopefully on Friday more of the framework, it's going to be sold to Oracle. The United States is going to get 80% leasing rights to the algorithm to TikTok, and there's going to be a new app developed that's America only. So we won't be able to use the original TikTok anymore. China will
Oh
still
wow.
own 20% of the algorithm, and they will get a fee from the United States of America for leasing it out to us.
Oh my God. I didn't like I mean when they had that one day that we didn't have TikTok, it came back. It was always kind of funky to me anyway. Conspiracy theory, allegedly. Um,
But I can tell you from experience, it's definitely changed. The new guidelines that just came out on September 13th are very strict. I've actually gotten a lot of content violations for past videos I made because of it, and it seems like they're
mm,
all geared toward very specific things about addressing government. And now there is a provision in the guidelines that says if something is deemed an emergency or sensitive to social stability in your country, it will be blocked. So they've made it clear
wow.
they are changing things. And this new app will be owned by Oracle and a few other American based companies that are Trump supporters. So I'm pretty sure this new app is just going to be Trump TikTok. So I,
Wow.
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see what happens, but December
Yeah.
13th is the deadline as far as updates for TikTok, and then we will have access to it until December 16th. So if you are a content creator, you get your payout that comes on the 15th of every month.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. But you can follow me at AJ Vandertunt on TikTok and all the other apps, YouTube and YouTube. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. YouTube and
No, no,
Instagram
no,
are
no.
the
Because
platforms I'm growing
because
on more. Go ahead,
yeah,
John. I didn't
yeah,
mean
yeah,
to cut you
yeah. No,
off.
no. No, no, no. You're fine. You're fine. I think it's okay to laugh because if we don't laugh, we cry. Because sometimes you have no choice but to laugh at how ridiculous our country has become. So yeah, this is where we are. All right. That being said, so we can end on a fun note. Would you like to wrap us up, AJ, with some ringing deliciousness?
I love Massiel's harmonica. Let's let that deliciousness ring.
Yeah. I